And when I say like the side effects of IVF, I'm not talking about like the side effects from your STIM injections or like the post-retrieval pain, or I'm not talking about those side effects. I'm talking about the real life side effects that come from doing IVF. Those side effects that are long lasting, the side effects that nobody tells you about and that you have really no way of prepping for or planning for anyway. Good morning. So today's video is gonna be a little bit different, and that's just in the fact that in starting this journey I said that I was going to share the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I feel like I would be not doing a good job of really sharing about IVF if I didn't discuss like some of the major like side effects or like negative things that have come. I don't even know how to say it, but just like the things about IVF that people don't really discuss, if that makes sense. And so it's hard because like these weren't things that, I don't even know how to explain it. Like I feel like the easiest way that I can put it is that I am struggling. So let me just tell you what's been going on and what these side effects are that people don't really tell you about. And the first one is stress. IVF is stressful. Like, not only stressful on me, but also on Adam. Like, IVF is just stressful. There is so much going on. There's so many like variables that go into like success. Like retrieval alone, getting up to that point was so stressful. When I initially found out that Adam and I would have to do IVF, the first thing that I did, like most people do, is I went to YouTube, because I'm like, I don't know what this is. And yes, my doctor explains it, but I need somebody to explain it to me in real life terms that are easy to understand, that just will make sense, because he explained it, but like I needed the layman terms. I needed like homegirl to tell me what IVF was. I needed to see somebody's entire process. And so I went down the rabbit hole that is YouTube and watched so many different people's stories about their IVF success as well as IVF failure. And I feel like that was one of the first mistakes that I made. There was something about like going on there and seeing that, and then me thinking that is how my journey is going to be, right? Does that make sense? Like I went in thinking like, okay, so this is IVF, this is how it's gonna be. Like not knowing like every woman is different. Every woman's experience with IVF is different. I don't know why, but like in my mind, I was just like, okay, that's how it's gonna go. Okay, that's the medicine. Okay, that. And I was so wrong. I should have just listened to what my doctor said, trusted him as an expert in his field, and like just moved on. So that stressed me out, right? Seeing all of that stressed me out, and going through this and thinking back on the other people that I watched was stressing me out as you're like waiting for your results, as you're like going to your monitoring appointment and be like, oh my gosh, do I have any follicles? Like all of that was stressing me out. Not only was it stressing me out, and this brings me to my next side effect, it was giving me anxiety. It was giving me anxiety. Literally going through retrieval was so stressful because of how anxious I was about every single step. Every single step. I was so worried and anxious about what if it doesn't work? Or what, like, for example, so we take the medicine. Oh my gosh, what if the medicine isn't working and I go in and I have no follicles? And then they're like, oh, hey, you got HECA follicles. I'm like, okay, good, I have HECA follicles. But I'm like, oh my gosh, what if none of the follicles have eggs in them? We sound so stupid. Like you got 90 follicles and none of them are gonna have eggs. Like that don't make no sense. But I was like, oh my gosh, what if none of them have eggs in them? Then you would think like, okay, retrieval. Yes, we're feeling relaxed. We're feeling good. No. because we get to retrieval and they're like, oh, you have 41 eggs. I'm like, okay, but what if none of them are mature, or what if none of them fertilized? You had 41 eggs, 39 were mature, 30 fertilized, like, you're good to go. But then I was like, okay, but what if there is some genetic issue between Adam's sperm and my eggs, and they don't actually make it to day 5 blast? Like, every possible thing. And I don't want to say I was doubting the process and doubting that it was actually going to work, or doubting that it was going to happen. It was just, I was so anxious, and those things about what ifs would just pop in my mind. And then when those what ifs would pop in my mind, it kind of just, does that make sense? Like, it just, all right. And so I just, yeah. This entire process, Adam and I have been super optimistic, and we believe it's going to work. But at the same time, there were just these thoughts that kept getting thrown at me, and these thoughts that kept popping in my mind that I couldn't get rid of. And it was driving me insane. And then that led to another side effect, which was insomnia. Like, I couldn't sleep. I still can't sleep. If you don't know, Adam is a TSA agent, and he is up at 2 a.m. for work every morning. And so we're in bed around 7:38 every night. And so I would just be in bed, laying in the dark, unable to settle my mind, unable to settle the thoughts that were going through my head. And I tried multiple different things. I've tried that white noise music. I tried melatonin for a while. I tried the whole trick of, what did the doctor say? She said you should take a hot shower and then enter into a cold room. None of it worked. And so, yeah, it would cause me to, like, my mind to spin. And so because I didn't want to be stuck with those thoughts by myself at night, I would then start doing things to distract myself. So I would then turn on the TV or turn on YouTube and start watching something. And then it was like, well, you really ain't going to sleep because now you're interested in this. And so it just, I don't know, because I was afraid to be stuck with these thoughts and letting these negative things flood my mind, I would then turn on, my favorite music to listen to is Jonathan McReynolds. So I would then turn on Jonathan McReynolds radio and, like, listen to his songs on repeat. Or I would turn on the TV and start watching some random show, or put on YouTube in order to not be left alone with my own thoughts. Because that's how bad it was. It was me just constantly worrying and then causing my family to worry. I remember I would call my mom and be like, oh my gosh, should we do the PGS testing? Mind you, retrieval, it's already over. And I'm sitting there like, I feel like we should do the PGS testing. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if there's something genetically wrong with it? Like, listen, IVF ain't for everybody. It just ain't. It just ain't. And it's so weird because these side effects, like stress, insomnia, anxiety, those are not things that are good for pregnancy. Period. They're not good for pregnancy. So the fact that this is what came of me doing IVF, like, these are the side effects that were given to me while trying to get pregnant. But now going into pregnancy, these are things that are not good for you. Like, what? It's not funny, okay? It's not funny. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. But you laugh to keep from crying. It's okay. But yeah, it's just, it's a lot. One thing I am happy about, though, is that for me, again, Adam's a TS agent. I am a school counselor. So I chose, just because as being a counselor, you need to be mentally stable. You need to be mentally secure. You can't be hopped up on hormones and losing your mind and having mood swings on kids and things like that. Nah, that don't work. So for me, I was like, okay, I can only do this during the summer. I knew that. I was like, this has to take place during the summer, just so that any side effects or things that happen, I have time before the school year starts to work on it. And so I feel like that is one of the best decisions that I made. Hands down. But it'll be okay. I'll be okay. There's a lot of work that I have to do before retrieval. There's a lot of work that I have to do before retrieval. And there's already some things that I've started doing just to help and just to work through kind of what I've been feeling. And so I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I am going to put out a video on the things I'm doing to prepare for transfer. And in that, I'll include some things that I'm doing in terms of self-care and just working on myself as well. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I hope you guys didn't mind me just sitting down and talking to you, and I'm just trying to be honest about my feelings. I'm trying to be honest about this process. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.